Hi everyone, welcome to Border Tanks with StewiejP. I'm Stewie and this is a double shot of Tier 8 French Premium Tank action. Game 1 is featuring Agent Infinity from Anzaf Clan. Agent Infinity often sends me awesome replays and this is one of them. Agent Infinity's platooned up with his old mate Zul T from Anzaf Clan as well, and they're both running around in their Tier 8 French Premium Heavy Tanks, the FCM 50t, one of the most popular premium tanks in the game. They've been around for a long time. They do get preferential matchmaking. If I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me. And so, which means they only see Tier 9 games. So most LCs are Tier 9 game. A lot of Tier 8 premium tanks have preferential matchmaking and some of them don't. Now Agent Infinity getting into a very aggressive position, and it's a position I like to get into when I'm in a light tank, and you can spot any enemy tanks that are coming around this way to approach the hill. But he's been lit by having a shot at that little baby bat chat. He got himself lit, so he's moving back so he can protect his health. Now the FCM 50t, it's got 1500 hit points, and you can see the gun damage does 240 hit points of damage with 212 penetration, and the premium rounds are 240 damage with 259 penetration. Now the advantage of the FCM over the AMX CDC, which is the second tank in this double shot of French premium Tier 8 games, is that the FCM, as I mentioned, has premium matchmaking, which means it doesn't see Tier 10s unless you're platooning up with somebody who does see Tier 10s. Now he's done a little bit of spotting for his team, because see that the light tank on Agent Infinity's side is running around with Zulti in the middle of the map doing some spotting in the middle. And as you often do see on Prokhorovka, Fiery Stallion even, you've got a couple of Tier 9 tanks sitting back here, and you've got an IS-2 and a KV-4 sitting back in the 1-2 line doing a bit of a camping. But because nobody's spotting for these tanks down in the southwest corner, they're really not going to see anything. That M4A1 Rev is far too far away for these guys to do any damage. They really should move up a couple of squares. But anyway, we're looking from Agent Infinity's point of view, and Agent Infinity's getting up to the hill. Looks like Zulti's already copped 540 odd hit points of damage. And as you often see on Fiery Stallion, you've got a number of tanks sitting on the hill but just kicking back and not really being brave enough to push forward. So Agent Infinity is trying to get a little bit of vision on the hill. The T54 Mod 1 over here at F7, F8 is trying to light something, but nothing on the enemy side's getting lit up. So there's a bit of what the fuck going on in the chat, because there's a lot of opportunities to spot tanks, but it's just not doing it. Zulti looks like he's lighting up heaps of tanks in the middle. The T49 gets taken out because he's been spotted by the AMX 1390, who's sitting in a normal place to sit and spot when you spawn from the north at E1, those bushes there. And a good bit of communication going on between the teams. So let's push in this direction, let's do that. These guys here really have nothing to do. They're out of the game at the moment. There's nothing lit that they can shoot at 1390. Apart from the T30, all these other tanks on the left probably can't really do much. Well, the IS-2 gets a shot into him, takes him out, and Agent Infinity is thinking, rightio, enough stuffing around here. We need to move forward on this hill. Now the FCM 50t is, even though it's a heavy tank, it doesn't really have a great amount of armour, but it does have, and it's getting a buff next patch, I believe, with the 917 patch. But at the moment in this replay from the 916, the FCM, which is a tank I don't have, but it looks like it's a pretty good tank. Like a low alpha damage, 248 hit points of damage into the baby bat chat, keeps him auto aimed and takes him out of the game. And then Agent Infinity is going to try and outmaneuver this Tier 8 German tank. Looks like the German tank's just fired the VK4502A, and it looks like he's hiding back in the in the water. So Asian Infinity is going to do exactly the right thing. He's going to play the role of a medium tank and try and outflank the German heavy tank, while the T-32 and the IS-6 attack it frontally from the other side, which is exactly the right thing to do. You can see that the VK's gun's aiming the other way, so Asian Infinity in the FCM is going to put some pain into it from behind as the T-32 removes him from the game, and Asian Infinity goes to try and light up the enemy base, and there's still a number of tanks that haven't been spotted on the enemy side, and you'd imagine they'll probably up the back of this 1-2 line. This M103 is finally moving forward, or is he? Looks like he's only moved up a square. The KV-4 staying back there to protect the artillery, but Asian Infinity doing a great job lighting up the remaining enemy tanks that are camping at the base there. The Jag Tiger really caught out of position there on the enemy side. He's still in the spawn circle. So Asian Infinity, he knows he's alone. Looks like this T-32 is going back down to the middle of the map, and the IS-6 obviously is a pretty slow tank on soft terrain, so it's going to be a while before he gets any help. So Asian Infinity doing the job of keeping that Tiger 2 lit just by proximity spotting him and looking for a few cheap shots. He has lost 500 hit points of health, and so he needs to be wary of that, because the FCM doesn't really have any armour. Every now and then you're going to bounce a bit of a freak shot, but the armour on the FCM, the French tank, is nothing to be relied upon. Now this is a pretty old replay. You might have seen that he auto-aimed on that Tiger 2 without having to highlight it, which is probably, if that was happening nowadays, since the Wargaming have released their fair play policy, that would be against the rules. But this is an old replay. It's probably about a month old. It's definitely before the fair play policy came in, and a very popular mod of Auto Aim Plus was definitely legal and very widely used when this replay was recorded. Artillery trying to shoot that Tiger 2, but just going a little bit too long and just missing the Tiger 2. M103 and the KV-4 finally move forward, and you can see Agent Infinity was hoping to get a shot into that FE207, but the M103 beat him to the punch. And even though he's only done 1,000 hit points of damage, he's doing an invaluable job here, keeping these tanks lit for the artillery and also for these tanks that are up here sniping away. So rather than crest the railway tracks, Asian Infinity in his FCM 50t is just keeping this Tiger 2 lit, and I'm sure once that Tiger 2's out of the game, he's going to go after the remaining tanks. The M103 and the KV-4 have finally lit up that M4A1 Rev tank. They're one of the newer Tier 8 premium tanks, and the Jag Tiger's just fired, so Asian Infinity can comfortably put a shot into his side and chip away and pick up a little bit of free damage as the AT7 takes him out of the game. He waits for his gun to reload painfully. He wants to kill the T-34-100, but the M103 looks like the M103 ammo racked it and took him out of the game. Now Asian Infinity, you might be saying he's only picked up 2 kills and 2,000 hit points of damage, but when you see on the post-game battle results, you can see he's done a lot more than that. Again, he just misses out on the kill shot on the Lorraine 15550, the Tier 8 French artillery piece, but he definitely picked up some spotting damage there, as you can see on the post-game battle results. That battle was good enough to pick up an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge. Even though he didn't do a massive amount of damage, it was still a pretty good game by Asian Infinity. Look at all those tanks that he spotted for his team. They only had one light tank, and that light tank was taken out quite early, so Asian Infinity did the right thing and lit up enemy tanks for all the rest of his team. Even though a lot of them were camping a lot and kicking back, Asian Infinity never sort of wasted his health to go for a few cheap shots, and kept his gun in the game right to the end, which was a great help to his team, and that's why he top scored. He only got 2,201 hit points of damage and 2 kills, 1418 base experience. That's mainly because of the spotting damage. 4,114 hit points of spotting damage by Asian Infinity. Even though he's in a heavy tank, he was smart enough to know that keeping those enemy tanks that were sitting back at the back sniping and camping, keeping them lit for all the other tanks that were still alive on his team was enough to pick himself up an Ace Tanker Mastery badge, but also ensure that the game was won by Asian Infinity and his side. And of course, looking at the last page of the post-game battle results, have a look at that. This is why you get premium tanks. 105,000 credits. That's after tax. That's after he's paid for his repairs and his ammunition. Of course, all that spotting damage gives you more experience, which equals more credits. And with a premium account, 105,000 credits after he paid for his bullets. That's a massive game. He only fired 18 shots. A few of them were blind shots. Only 12 out of the 18 hit. 10 went through. That gave him 2,201 hit points of damage. But that spotting damage is what confirmed his Ace Tanker Mastery badge in the FCM 50t. An awesome game. Even though he didn't do a massive amount of damage, it was definitely a good way to pick up an Ace Tanker Mastery badge, or a different way to pick up an Ace Tanker Mastery badge. As we move on to game number 2 in this double shot of Tier 8 French premium tank action, we've got our old mate MatchyHK from DPX clan, one of the favourites on World of Tanks with StewiejP, and he's running around in his AMX CDC. Now this is the tank that I do have. It's quick, it's got a gun that reasonably accurate and will do damage to whoever you aim it at, as long as you aim it at the right place. But unlike the FCM 50t, it does not have premium matchmaking. But in this game, MatchyHK is lucky enough to be almost top tier. There's only 3 tier 9 tanks on both sides. But as you look at the lineups on both sides, those 3 tier 9 tanks on the enemy side, they're all tanks that would normally come along this flank. So MatchyHK needs to be a little bit careful here. Doesn't manage to hit the E50. He's just looking for a few cheap shots. The AMX CDC, unlike the Liberty tank, which has got a hell of a lot of frontal armour, the AMX CDC being a medium tank and of course being French tank, that means no armour whatsoever. A lot of people say that it's made of ammo rack, the AMX CDC. It's very easy to get ammo rack because the turret has no armour whatsoever. But what it does have is mobility. You can easily, similar to the non-premium medium tanks on the French line, you can often relocate quickly because you've got quite a powerful engine, and you can get around and move around the battlefield and do damage from a distance or close up. It's entirely up to you, but you need to bear in mind every now and then you will bounce a few shots, but don't ever rely on the armour because it's not that kind of tank. Anyway, MatchyHK's on steps and he's gone the aggressive line. He's gone the line where all the action seems to happen. He's fired a few shots, he's done a little bit of damage. His team are in a little bit of trouble, and he's platooned up with his old mate Sonic Snail, also from DPX clan. And he picks up his first kill, trying to claw that scoreboard back. They're down 3-5. They were down 2-5. And even though there are tier 9s in this game, there are also tier 6s and 7s, which would provide easy damage for this French premium medium tank. He's having a look at that Ferdinand. That would be a very handy gun to get out of the game. You can see he did 189 damage with that shot. Of course, doesn't have a big alpha gun, but it's 189, 200 odd hit points of damage per shot. You can see here up to 240 hit points of damage, and decent penetration too, of 212 with the standard rounds and 259 with the premium rounds. You had premium rounds loaded for that Ferdinand. Ferdinand's a very heavy tank destroyer to get through. And now he's using the rate of fire to slowly pick apart that Centurion 7-1, the tier 9 British medium tank. He really wants to... Very handy tank to get rid of, even though the Centurion's going to do more damage per shot. Matchy's going to just keep chipping away with his quick rate of fire on this French medium tank. And now, while that FCM's engaging with his mate Sonic Snail, MatchyHK is going to take him out of the game after he picks him apart. Now they've picked up 3 kills between them, MatchyHK and Sonic Snail. in their Tier 8 premium medium tank platoon, and doing that has clawed the score back to 9-7. Remember, they were down 3 tanks only a few minutes ago, and now Matchy has got the health. Sonic Snail is down to 111 hit points. Matchy is still on 1,000, and so Sonic Snail is going to be the one to take the lead, and he's just going to run around the middle of the map and try and find out where the rest of those enemy tanks are. The E50 was last spotted at the spawn, and you can see the 1390, the Charioteer, and the AMX 12T all on the western side of the AMX 12Ts, trying to have a crack at the Tortoise, and we can't really see which way the Tortoise is facing, but it looks like he's getting outmaneuvered by that AMX. But luckily the Leopard PTA, the Tier 9 German medium tank, has come to rescue the Tortoise and take the Tier 6 light tank out of the game. Now with the score at 10-9, we'll probably think, oh, we're not doing too badly here. MatchyHK's picked up over 3,000 hit points of damage, and you'd be happy with that any day of the week. And the score is 10-9. Now the artillery piece has been taken out on Matchy's side, but the enemy have got 2 arties, a light, a TD and a medium left, which you would think the manoeuvrability and the vision that is left on Matchy's side would be able to sort of outmaneuver all those tanks. The A44 gets taken out of the game, the A44 being the rear turreted T7 Russian medium tank. And now MatchyHK just running around looking to find out where the last couple of tanks are. Pretty sure that 1390 didn't have a great amount of health left. I'm not sure about the Charioteer. I didn't see him in any action, though he has been spotted down the southern side of the map. Actually putting a few blind shots out there. I don't know what they were both shooting at. And Sonic Snail staying down there near the enemy cap just to try and light something if someone moves out of the way. Actually searching for where the arty might be hiding, or even the Charioteer might be hiding up on those ridge lines. And they use the sides. That Leopard PTA is going back the other way. I'll go with him and provide a little bit of support. Finally the E50 gets spotted. Now he's still got almost half his health. It looks like he's going after the Tortoise. The Tortoise is on a little bit of open ground here. The Tortoise might find himself in a little bit of trouble being in so much open land as the Panther gets taken out of the game, and all of a sudden the enemy side are winning again by 1 tank. But I would still put money on Matchy's side, having 4 normal tanks versus 3 normal tanks. Obviously not counting the artilleries. Once the battle gets a little bit closer, artillery really pretty much gets taken out of the game. Now that Tortoise, he's obviously got something better to do a little bit later on, so he's charging straight for where that E50 and the Charioteer were last spotted. Don't know if that's the right thing to do. Obviously the Tortoise is slow, otherwise it wouldn't be called a Tortoise, but it would be very easy for the Tortoise to be outmaneuvered. Now the Tortoise finds the Charioteer, and you'd imagine the Charioteer would be aiming at the Tortoise. I think if I was Matchy, I would have went over that ridge line, but there's also the E50 kicking back there, sniping from the back. The E50 as now Sonic and that Leopard can come into it, and that Leopard takes out the E50, so the Tortoise and MatchyHK can safely have a red hot go at that Charioteer. And now because Matchy's still got 1,000 hit points of damage, didn't waste his health earlier on, he knows he can afford to take a shot or two, but the manoeuvrability of the French premium tank is outmanoeuvring this Charioteer, so he picks him up for kill number 3 as the Leopard, having an awesome game, gets rid of the AMX 1390. And of course now both artillery pieces have been spotted. It's that time of the game when everyone says you'll beauty, only 2 arties left, and everyone goes absolutely YOLO to try and pick up that last little bit of damage against the enemy artilleries. The Leopard PTA, the Tier 9 German medium tank, picking up his 4th kill by getting rid of the SU-141. And now Matchy desperately looking to try and find the British artillery, and there he is. Can he get over the hill? He can't. You can't get over the hill. He's trying. He will. He'll be able to. Don't worry about that. He's a hero, MatchyHK. That looks like a shot, so he takes it. Sonic Snail having a crack, and the Leopard PTA picks up his 5th kill, having an awesome game in the German Tier 9. In the German Tier 9 medium tank. If we look at the post-game battle results, it was a bit of a different game, that one. Ace Tanker Mastery Badge for our mate Matchy. Bruiser and Fire for Effect, and of course the high caliber. So you know he did an absolute shitload of damage, and you can see there 1,440 hit points of damage. Sonic Snail didn't have a bad game with 2,161 hit points of damage, but of course he did lose a hell of a lot of his health earlier on in that game. You can see Matchy's game, he fired 32 shots. There was a lot of blind shots in there. That's why it was only 23 hit. 20 went through, which gave him nearly 4,500 hit points of damage. And that was enough for an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge. And of course, spotting damage again, 1,410 spotting damage would have contributed as well. And a fairly handy profit as well. He did fire a little bit of premium ammunition, as is shown with the auto resupply ammunition being 50,000. If he hadn't have fired that, I reckon that grand total would have been well over 100,000 credits. But an awesome game by MatchyHK is AMX CDC. The Tier 8 Premium French tank, and of course Agent Infinity in his FCM 50t. So there you go, folks, a double shot of Tier 8 French premium action featuring the FCM 50t with its premium matchmaking heavy tank, and the AMX CDC, the Tier 8 non-premium matchmaking medium tank from France. Hope you've enjoyed these replays, folks. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you all next time. And hopefully this replay might help you decide if you want to buy one of these tanks. A comparison between the two. They both look pretty cool. I don't have a 50t, but I do enjoy playing my AMX CDC. But the 50t does look like a pretty good tank, and maybe it's something I might buy in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care, and see you all next time.